You know, if I went back to September 12th, 2001 and told myself where America was today, I'd probably beat the crap out of myself for lying. Hey everyone, welcome back. And if it's your first time here, just plain welcome. As you can see, the setup is a little different. I am dealing with a series of calamities, but everything will be back to normal pretty soon, hopefully. Anyways, what am I talking about? Last night in Washington, D.C., an Israeli couple, a couple that worked for the Israeli embassy. One was Israeli, one was originally from Kansas. But they were together as a couple, were gunned down. The absolute shitbag that allegedly killed the pair, when he was arrested, shouted, "Free, free Palestine." In other words, he supports Hamas. Now, going back to September 11th, I watched as the towers fell. That memory is burned into my brain. I remember wondering what was next, because I worried, what would I do after this series of attacks? Would I let it up? Would I, do whatever? I worried about mass shootings, truth be told. But luckily that never happened. Instead, what happened was on September 12th, we were kind of united as a nation. We rallied together. We knew who the enemy was. And while we still had opponents, the guys on the other side of the aisle weren't as much of an issue as they had been. Now, it didn't last indefinitely. We had plenty of people comparing, George W. Bush to Hitler, and going into Iraq just kind of made that a little bit worse because in a lot of people's mind, they weren't responsible, and I'm not going to get into what that war. But on September 12th, 2001, we were united. We hated the terrorists. A lot of people went to a lot of pains to make sure we understood that not all Muslims were terrorists. We didn't want that to happen because there are a lot of men and women of the Muslim faith who were just as angry as we were. Cool. But today, we got something different. This jackass that was arrested last night sympathizes with terrorists. Hamas is a terrorist organization. This is not really disputed. Okay, they routinely conduct terrorist attacks in Israel. It used to be worse, but they still do it. And people sympathize with them over the innocent men, women, and children Hamas killed on October 7th, the Israeli 9/11. So, a year ago, we saw something that I think is really un-American, and that term gets thrown around an awful lot. But I'll explain why here in a second. Students took over campuses, right? And they did it in the name of Palestine, of the Intifada, or however it's pronounced. I don't really give a shit. But they took this over. They harassed Jewish students. They stormed buildings. They disrupted classes. They've done it again this year. But they just routinely they go beyond reasonable protesting and have literally terrified their fellow students because those students are Jewish. They don't even care if these people actually agree. They don't care if these are Zionist Jewish people. They're just Jews. So when they try to say it's not anti-Semitic, they're full of shit. We know that. But when they start talking about the Intifada, and that's what they're celebrating, is what they want to be part of, that's the terrorist struggle against Israel's existence, against the United States supporting Israel, against the West generally supporting Israel. That's what this is about. They're supporting Hamas, a terrorist organization. In other words, they are terrorist simps. That's the only way to put it. They simp for terrorists. And there's one guy who might be among the worst of them. Recently, there was a lot of talk about the left trying to find their own Joe Rogan. and the leading candidate is probably a guy named Hassan Piker. If you haven't heard of him, bless you. Hassan is the nephew of the Young Turks, Cenk Uygur. He's a streamer on Twitch. Across all platforms, he has something like 8 million followers, subscribers, whatever. He reaches a lot of people as it is. This is the dude who's the epitome of terrorism, right? He is constantly going on about Israel. He is constantly going after anybody who shows any support for Israel through his streams, right? If he becomes aware of it, he's coming after you. Piker has had members of Hamas on his streams. He's had Houthi rebels, which are just terrorists with a different set of pajamas, on his stream. The dude lives in a $2.7 million house. That's what he paid for it just a little while ago, a few years back. $2.7 million house, and he's a fucking socialist, but he's also a terrorist simp. And I'm sick of these people. Absolutely sick of it. I cannot understand how anybody can back these kind of people. I just don't get it. And when I think about where we were on September 11th and where we are today, what the hell happened? What happened? I mean, I get a lot of these people don't remember 9/11. It's burned in my memory. It's seared in there. I could forget everything, and I don't know that I could forget that or watching the Challenger explode. I can't forget either of those. And yet, a lot of these younger guys, these younger gals, they don't have that. They didn't see that. But I don't know that it would matter. Social media does some strange things to us. It allows the worst of us to find one another, and it allows the gullible to be swayed by the worst of us. Yeah, Hassan Piker is one of the worst of us, but he's not all of it. Without Hassan Piker, there'd be someone else. But I don't understand how we got here. Not remembering 9/11 shouldn't lead anyone to celebrate terrorism. You know, and it's not even all Islamic terrorism. It's not. Look at Taylor Lorenz freaking fawning over Luigi Mangione. I mean, the Babylon Bee did an article about how he was taking out a restraining order against her, and that's what I'm pretty sure it's going to come true. I mean, geez, she was so fangirling over him. And after that he allegedly killed Brian Thompson, the left was celebrating and wanting to find the next CEO to be killed. Who was going to do it? Others have called for assassinations of Trump administration officials, including Trump himself. The man faced 2 assassination attempts during his campaign. Only one of them got a shot at him, thank God. And if he hadn't moved at the last minute, he's dead. Trump is gone. There's no way that shot was on purpose. There's no way that little dipshit could have done it. All these people are terrorists. And a lot of these motherfuckers on the left are simping over terrorists. Domestic or foreign, doesn't matter. I mean, does it? There's something wrong with these motherfuckers. There is. And honest to God, I'm done. I'm done playing nice with them. Right? I'm not going to try to get in their head and see what their arguments are, because they're simping for terrorists. So instead, I'm going to do like Eddie Murphy said Richard Pryor told him to tell Bill Cosby. I'm going to tell him to have a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up. And that's just what it's, we gotta start pushing back. Okay? We've got to start calling these terrorist simps what they are. We got to start pushing back, and we cannot let them think this is acceptable. And we need to make it impossible for the media to keep pushing this bullshit. Right? They need to be blasted on Twitter. They need to be blasted on Facebook. They need to face such a backlash that they're afraid to simp anymore. They're afraid of the repercussions, non-violent, but their mentions be destroyed, their notifications blow up to where they can't do anything except try to do damage control. That's what we need to do, because if we don't, someone's going to think this is cool, and they're going to ramp it up. But, you know, that's my take on it. I'm curious what your take is. What are your thoughts? Go down in the comments. Let me know. While you're down there, give me a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that jazz. I apologize for everything feeling very weird in this video. And on that note, I am going to wrap it up, and I will see you all in the next video.